Greetings, this is Kip Roozen. I'm one of the pastors at Asbury United Methodist Church in Sioux Falls. This video is a report of the results of Asbury's COVID-19 comeback survey. We published a survey asking our folks to offer their feedback in terms of their feelings and attitudes of returning to in-person worship and activities at Asbury United Methodist Church. We had a great response. Over 175 people responded and completed the survey. So we're going to share some of the results of that survey now. When our local government lifts its guidance against churches meeting, which best describes your attitude toward returning to a worship service at church? Select 1. I will return the first opportunity we have, 11%. I will return the first opportunity but with some concerns and precautions, 30%, 53 people. I will wait several additional weeks before I attend, 26% or 46 people. It may be quite a while before I return, over 22%, that's 39 people. Not sure, almost 10%. The second question on the survey was, in addition to our local government lifting its guidance against public gatherings, are there other signals you would want to see before you return to attend a worship service at church? Select all that apply. Local businesses are open again, 24%. Local restaurant seating areas are open again, 23%. Schools are open again, almost 27%. The number of coronavirus cases near me is very small, 64%. Most social distancing recommendations have been lifted, 45%. None of these, 8%. Not sure, 13%. What precautions, if any, do you plan to take when you return to a worship service? Select all that apply. I will wear a face mask. 66%, 114 people. I will stand and sit in places where I will be at least 6 feet from others beyond my own family. 80%, that's 130 people. I will avoid shaking hands, over 92%. I will avoid any physical contact, almost 87%. I will avoid crowded hallways, almost 72%. I will bring hand sanitizer, almost 69% agreed with that. None of these, just over 2%. Question 4, what precautions, if any, do you expect our church to take for worship gatherings? Select all that apply. Limit handouts of any kind, bulletins, announcement sheets, etc. Over 58%, that's 102 people. Limit congregational singing, 35%, 61 people. Use a new method for distributing Lord's Supper elements, over 73%. Use a new method for collecting offerings, 64%. Encourage social distancing in sanctuary seating, 84%. Encourage social distancing in classes and small group seating, 65%. Prop doors open so people do not have to touch handles, almost 74%. Set up one-way foot traffic entering and exiting the building, 46%. Provide hand sanitizer stations, 83%. Discourage shaking hands, 85%. Allow a longer period of time between worship service hours, 56.5%. Others, 14%. 25 people made extra comments. And none of these, just over 2%. Here were some of the precautions which you wrote down. A number of people said, still have online services. Due to physical problems, hard for me to attend. Someone mentioned, I work on Sundays. Others suggested online activities for kids continue. Our services are posted following Sunday morning on Vimeo, and the link is on Facebook, so whether you're able to watch live on Sunday or at a later time, services are available online. Another precaution suggested was by a number of people was sanitize frequently used areas often. A number of people mentioned wiping down pews between services, cleaning door handles, cleaning common areas and high-touch spots between services. Suggestions for closing the hospitality room, close the chapel and meet in larger rooms for social distancing. Concern about bathroom use and the virus. Concern for the nursery and children. A few people put educate people so they are compliant with precautions, make expectations clear to worshipers, post reminders to not come if they're not feeling well. Encourage masks by all. There's concern that people do not wear masks even though they're requested as a courtesy in other places, so there's concern and precautions need to be taken. Extra time between services. A number of people commented no singing. It is scientifically proven that it spreads faster when people sing. Quite a few people wrote, I may not return until a vaccination, so continue online worship. And a couple people wrote, remove all books and paper from the pews. Encourage people to bring their own Bible. A couple people wrote, worship occasionally outside. Worship at a different day. A Sunday night, maybe a weekday service for retired people. Small group worship that is very spread out, maybe combine worship with small groups throughout the week. There was a concern expressed for older members and a few people concerned for limiting children's interactions. Others suggested a precaution was to watch the virus numbers in town and to please use common sense. Question 6. Would you be willing to attend your class or small group where it typically meets? Yes, assuming there's proper sanitation and cleaning prior and after meetings, over 19%. Yes, but in a larger space than normal to allow social distancing, 14.5%. Not right away, almost 21%. Not where it typically meets, but I would meet away from the church, just over 1%. I do not have a class or small group, over 44%. Question 7. Do you have children age 18 or younger who live with you and typically attend church with you? Yes, 21.5%. No, 78.5%. Question 8. If you answered yes, you did have children, would you allow your child or children to attend their class where it typically meets? Yes, 18%. Not right away, 68%. My children do not typically attend a class was over 13.5%. Question 9, if you had answered you have children, what precautions, if any, do you expect the church to take in children's classes and youth groups when they resume? Select all that apply. Reduce the number of people in each room or move to a larger room, 62.5%. Seat children where they cannot touch each other, 55%. Prohibit snacks which would cause children to put their hands to their mouths, 57.5%. Require teachers to wear face masks, 55%. Encourage kids to wear face masks, 40%. Provide face masks and other safety measures, 37.5%. Require teachers to wear gloves, 22.5%. Ask kids to use hand sanitizer before entering, 75%. Plan activities in which kids do not need to touch each other, 72.5%. Other, 25%. 10 people made comments. None of these, 12.5%. Question 10, if you selected other in question 9, please indicate what other precautions you would expect our church to take in children's classes and youth groups when they resume. Sanitize frequently used areas often. Many sports are canceled for kids because of the contact. Consider not having small groups for children as usual. Children do not understand social distancing. A few people also put kids should stay in their age groups and do not have entire mixed groups in the fellowship hall. Wash hands prior to class. Limit class sizes to less than 10. Limit groups and clean more often was repeated. Take temperatures of children and teachers. Whatever daycares are doing, we should be doing at Asbury. No in-person classes until there is a vaccine. Use Zoom and mail. Get creative. In-person Sunday school is not worth the risk. A couple people put depends on the age of the children. Older children just need reminders. Younger children need more direction, like keeping children apart. Getting children to participate and follow social distancing rules is strongly age dependent. And no one should be wearing gloves. Frequent hand sanitation with soap or hand sanitizer is sufficient. Question 11. Which of the following describes the attendance level at which you would be comfortable attending a worship service? I would be comfortable attending if the sanctuary is filled to capacity, every seat taken, less than 2%. 3/4 filled, some empty seats throughout, but no empty rows, 10%. Half filled, most people have empty seats either beside them or in front of them, almost 34%. 1/4 filled, maintaining 6 feet in distance from others, most people have empty seats beside them and in front of them, almost 37%. And none of these, at least right away, over 17%. Question 12. As our local government lifts its guidance against public gatherings, which of the following would you prefer for our church? Resume in-person worship services at our church immediately, over 16%. Continue with online worship services only, but resume small groups, classes, and other activities in person at the church, 44%. Meet in small groups in homes for a few more weeks before resuming in-person worship services, less than 9%. And not sure? Over 31%. Question 13, would you be willing to attend a worship service at a different time than you typically attend to allow people to be more spread out in the sanctuary? Yes, 67%. No, almost 9%. Not sure, over 24%. Question 14, would you be willing to attend a worship service in an overflow room to ensure people in the sanctuary and overflow rooms are spread out? Yes, 63%. No, 16%. And not sure, over 21%. Question 15, how long have you been attending? I am new in 2020, 0.5%, one person. Less than 2 years, 16 people. 2 to 4 years, 23 people out of the 175 that answered. 5 to 9 years, 25 people. 10 or more years, 110 people out of the 175 people who answered. Or I don't remember. Everybody remembers. Question 16 is, what is your age? Less than 18, less than 2%, that's 3 people. 18 to 29, 5% or 9 people. 30 to 49 years old, that's 36 people represented on the survey. And 50 to 69 years old, 70 people out of 174 that completed the survey. And 70 or over, 52 people, that's about 30%. I prefer not to answer. There were 4 people who preferred not to answer, so no candles on their birthday cakes. Question 17 is open-ended. What other questions or concerns do you have concerning the COVID-19 pandemic and in-person worship, groups, classes, and/or meetings. There were 35 responses. Here's some of the responses. I will feel confident in my social closeness as soon as the White House is open for public tours. Until that time, we have a problem. Sioux Falls has about 100 new cases each day. That seems to be a big number to me. Prayers for your discernment. Someone else wrote, make it go away like the dodo bird and the dinosaurs. Another wrote, some questions require it all depends answers. One person wrote, open the doors. Another, since we are 70 years old and have family and friends and co-workers that we would not want to pass the virus on to, we are happy worshiping online until a vaccination is available. Continue online services so we have a choice. All in attendance, leaders and others should wear masks. Support parking lot worship, outdoor activities, slow phasing in of in-person worship. There was concern expressed about opening too soon and increasing virus spread. Current classrooms for children and adults would not provide space needed for social distancing. For safety, continue online. There is concern about health issues. We put people at risk of dying. I live in a building where safe practices are ignored and many in high-risk categories. Keep others safe. We need to wait for a vaccination. Sad, but a reality. Not willing to risk my well-being or someone else's. Praying for difficult decisions. Another suggested close half of every pew so they alternate, one family unit up to 5 in that pew. Spread out services, 8, 9:30, 11, or eliminate one service due to low summer attendance. Masks can be required or optional. 8 o'clock could be for those at risk with more restrictions. Masks required every other pew, limit capacity even more. Make expectations clear for meetings in small groups so everyone knows the expectation. Concerns about the virus being brought into the common areas of our facility that are shared with the daycare. When back in person, will the entire church service still be available to watch online? I might comment the services have been available online for over a year prior to the pandemic, so yes, our intentions are to continue with online worship even when we return to in-person worship. Thank you for asking for feedback and not rushing to reopen the church. Is there a response plan should a child or staff member of the daycare test positive at either First United Methodist Church or our church, assuming some staff work at both facilities? I hope the online services continue to allow the members in the high risk and those concerned with social distancing guidelines being lifted too soon to be able to worship in the safety of their home. Keeping our Christian roots, we need to make our decision based on the need of the least, elderly and the at-risk, and not the majority. I feel as if we all need to return to living. With everyone having differing viewpoints on this, I'm concerned that distancing won't be adhered to when people get more weary of all the rules. Would like online and in-person options both. I just want to be smart about returning to worship and not rush into returning to worship just because we can. Yes, I miss in-person worship and seeing everyone, but I also know that I'm concerned for myself and my family, all with asthma, and how contracting COVID-19 would affect our family. Looking at all the restrictions, I wonder if it's even worth all the effort to be together, but not really be together. To worship and not sing, it just seems really depressing. Also, we want to be sure the quality of our online services stay high and doesn't go back to what it was before we stopped having community worship. I think there are many people not as much risk, so respect their right to choose to start meeting earlier. What liability does the church have in case someone can trace their infection to church? We should not be opening the nursery for the foreseeable future. Child care and social distancing are difficult or impossible to enforce. I will not attend anything in person for probably about 6 years. No one is sure of anything right now. In light of that fact, We see no way to resume traditional worship until there is a vaccine. For a long time it's been clear that it is not working to allow no time between Sunday services. Now we simply must allow more time between our services. My main concern is shaking hands and the number of people between services. It only takes one member of our family that doesn't respect this virus to create heartbreak for our entire congregation. Asbury is solid, not worth the risk, not fair to Kip or Matt to put at risk either. Will online options continue for those not comfortable with in-person worship? Thanks for all you are doing. We appreciate it and are praying for you. And finally, I think it is best to start slow and watch positive test results as we move forward. I think education as to why we are implementing precautions would be important. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to complete the survey. Asbury's Administrative Council is looking at the appropriate process and plan to determine when to begin in-person worship and activities. A task force comprised of Nathan Grau, our Ad Council Chairperson, Jeff Easter, our Trustees Chairperson, Anna Suko, our Children's, Youth, and Family Ministry Team Leader, along with Pastor Matt Morrison and me, Pastor Kip Roozen, are meeting on a regular basis to offer recommendations for a process and plan as we do consider returning to in-person worship and activities. In the meantime, thank you for continuing to be the church, the body of Christ. We are better together, and so we look forward to the day when we'll be meeting together in worship at the church again. At the same time, we realize that together does not mean that we share the same room. Together means we share the same spirit. And we hope you'll continue to invite us into your home for online worship each Sunday morning. God bless you all.